violence, and it's basically a motivational interviewing kind of program. We found that to be effective in a randomized controlled trial, and we're going to roll that out. So if a kid who comes into the emergency department in our intervention area, they will get this program. A mentoring program, we're working with Boys and Girls Club, and we're going to be hiring some staff with the Boys and Girls Club. They're going to be hiring their own staff to do this. They're going to be working with kids. So we're going to do some case management and some guidance and help with kids to keep them, basically well. You should know that this is a high-risk group, so this group will be adjudicated youth. So the judge will be basically sentencing the child, might sentence the child to the Boys and Girls Club project. And then we have community policing. This is where, this might be heresy in this room, but we're working with folks up here at Michigan State University. I'm sure you guys work with people from Michigan State University all the time. But we're working with the criminologists at Michigan State University to do some work around community policing to help develop the relationship between police and local communities. So at the end of all this, we're hoping that we can turn around this community, and if we can, the idea would be to take it to scale, first in Flint and then perhaps in other urban centers. But if we can show that we can make this effect in a neighborhood, in a relatively large area of Flint, we'll roll it out in a bigger way across the city. So some of the policy options, I guess I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night, so I do know who I'm talking to. Some after-school programming. I know you've heard that before, probably. I think it's important, though, that after-school programming is structured, is goal-oriented, has some focus on some kind of outcomes that would help kids develop skills and advance their well-being. We tend to do this to also have them advance the health of their communities, and so get them engaged in the communities. So in after-school programs that sort of integrate both skill building and community connection. Adult responsibility, I often say that we often look at youth violence as a youth problem, but really I think it's an adult problem. The amount of exposure from every corner of life in our society is an adult problem. We create those contexts in which kids grow up, and so programs that might help parents be better parents, or might help coaches be better coaches, and might help create opportunities for intergenerational learning and breaking down some of those barriers. And then lastly, opportunities for kids to get engaged in community, whether that's building buildings. In the Fathers and Sons Project, for example, they do work with helping refurbish homes, or whether that's building connections across people. Then the idea is creating those kinds of opportunities, and how can we create those kind of opportunities for our kids? How do we create resources for kids in our cities and in our rural areas so that they can get engaged and see that there's something out there that's beyond themselves, but that's really part of them as well. And then I'm just going to end with this picture, this mural. And you saw how the mural is about 60 feet long, 67 feet long, and about 12 or 15 feet high, so it's quite large. They designed this mural, the kids did. We helped them identify a local mural artist to help them pull it off and get it on a wall. The mural artist did do a little help in helping them with the picture, but basically it's fundamentally their idea. And let me tell you about what this picture is. On the left-hand side of the picture, you're going to see buildings on a bank, and the buildings represent old people. This is what they told us, by the way. I'm not making this up. I'm not like an art historian sort of saying, look at this picture and here's what's there. This is what they told us. So that's representing the old people. So they're kind of getting it that what we're trying to do is do this intergenerational learning and get them connected to older people and get them connected to positive adult role models. They are on the right-hand side, the flowers. The flowers are representing the new generation. They're growing up, and that's who they are. And then there's a bridge that's not completed. So the two generations need to be bridged in some way. And even though they try and work towards connecting, they don't always make it. So then that's why they created the love boat. that love between the generations and love from parents and across will bring them together and fills the circle. Pretty wonderful, I thought. Two other things I think are somewhat interesting. One, you'll see sinking to the bottom all of the things that they've learned from the curriculum. They're learning about the slave trade and Juneteenth and the Middle Passage, and that's representing the boat and the shackles. You'll see alcohol, the role that alcohol does not play in healthy development. You'll see guns and guns sinking down. So if you look carefully, you might find a gun. Lastly, you might notice that the clouds and in the sky there are some words. Those words are a poem that one of the kids wrote. And so they built the poem into the words. So with that, I think I'll end and thank you for your attention. I hope that you learned a little bit about something about at least what we're trying to do, and the quiz will be later. So I want to ask about resiliency or empowerment theories. Don't worry. It'll be open book. But actually, if you have any questions, I'd appreciate it. And again, thank you very much.
First off, let me commend you. It's an excellent presentation, very informative.
Thank you.
But I do have some questions. I'm trying to hold just a couple. First one is, when did you get the grant? I missed that.
The Youth Violence Prevention Center funding began September 30th of 2010. So we've not really been in the field very long. We're just getting IRB approvals, and we're doing some work. We've already done some training and that sort of thing. The Youth Empowerment Solutions was, I think we started that in about 2006, 2004 to 8. And then we were just refunded now. That was sort of a developmental period. We were refunded by the National Center for Child Health and Human Development to do a randomized controlled trial. And so that one, we're in the field right now. That was also just started last October, and we're just now getting into the field.
You mentioned that you work with the Boys and Girls Club, a great organization. But do you also work with the various fraternities, et cetera, who are also involved in the community that maybe is of interest to you?
You know, we don't, and I don't know if they're. We probably should look into that, and because I mean, you know, in Ann Arbor, as you know, there are fraternities. There are multiple fraternity rows, right? I don't know about U of M Flint if they have fraternities. I would imagine they would. So we.
They have what's called alumni chapters, and I know there's one just happened to be a cap, cap outside. They do have a chapter.
Okay, that's actually a good idea. We reach out. We work with U of M Flint in their health sciences area school, and we do recruit kids from there, undergraduates from there. But that would be a useful other resource to connect kids to. So thank you for the suggestion.
I'm wondering how the kids get into this program, and how you choose who gets in, and how you know whether or not they're the ones that maybe would do well anyway, have some identity and adult involvement.
Those are great questions, and I'll answer them directly. In the first iteration of the youth violence, of YES, we actually we went to different classrooms, we did an assembly, we told kids about it, and then there was a requirement that they had to fill out an application, they had to bring the materials back to their parents, and they had to bring back from them signed consent forms, because we're doing research and we have to do human subject protection. So we thought that that's a pretty big hurdle for a 7th or 8th grader to do. And we specifically recruited kids who were not the A students. In fact, most of our students were not the A students. So we were working with pretty, I don't want to say, we worked with some of the difficult kids. So in fact, I don't think, were any of them A students? I'm not sure any of them were A students.
Well, one we recruited, we had a recruiter on site in the school, and his desk was outside the assistant principal's office. We know about the role of assistant principals in middle schools. That's how we connected with a lot of the kids that were coming in to see the assistant principal. So it was a wide range of kids.
Now, in the now randomized controlled trial that we're doing, we're in 7 schools in the county, including the 2 middle schools in Flint. And if you're in an after-school program, you qualify. And then if you get consent, and we can get consent from the kids and from their parents, then they could be in the study, and then they'll be randomly assigned to one of the 2. So that'll be more of a range. So did I answer both your questions?
Well, I guess I just, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, are you getting kids that would succeed even without this program?
No, I can tell you no.
If they're going to be resilient anyway and have some parental involvement.
No, we don't think so. We don't think so. There's one story, it's a great story. It's actually been in findings, written up in findings. There's one kid who was definitely on a dead-end path, and he was not engaged in school, and he was sort of, he wasn't getting in major trouble or getting suspended a lot, but he was definitely not a kid that anybody would say was going anywhere. He got involved in our project. He started wearing a tie to school. He started talking to the principal, and he was the guy who made the announcements in school. So there are stories of the turning that around. And when you think about it, if you've spent $100,000 and you turn one kid's life around, it probably more than pays itself over a lifetime. So I know you've had your hand up for a while. So.
No, just really the follow-up to this question, and I'm just wondering, when a youngster is admitted to the program, then does somebody that's part of the program, yourself or someone else, I'll say interview the young person and to find out who is this person, what do they think their situation in life is, where are they coming from, what are some of their dreams and aspirations and problems and stuff. Do you do that? Yes,
we definitely do that. We do that in a more close-ended way than I think you were sort of suggesting. And what I mean by close-ended way is academic jargon. Is we give them a questionnaire, and we ask them to fill it out. We ask them questions about their future. We ask them questions about their violent behavior, their violent attitudes. We ask them questions about their relationship to adults and that sort of thing. So we do ask them all those kind of questions, but we do it in a way that says, do you have an adult you look up to? Yes or no. We don't ask them in a free associative way, tell us about your life. So we're very directed in the way we do that. But that's part of the evaluation in terms of, and we do a pre-post and that sort of thing. We definitely are doing that. I saw some hands over here, no? Okay.
You indicated in one of your programs you had adjudicated youth.
Mm-hmm.
Were those kids in there because of the court order? And what kind of offenses did they commit?
Well, that's a very interesting issue you bring up. I had the vision that these would be the low-level kids who maybe, they got caught smoking and they end up in court, or, they got caught maybe stealing something, and it was their first offense, and that's the kids we're going to get. And then we met with the court, and the court said, oh, no, we want to give you the most difficult kids. So that's where we are. I mean, we're working with them, and if that's what they want to do, that's what we're going to do. And it's not exactly, we're not exactly clear whether they're going to be adjudicated. There may be some issues around whether or not they can force the kids to be in the program. But what they might do is say, you have 2 choices. You can do this or you can do this. And let the kids pick, and then they may pick us, and then they'll be in the program. And it'll be until they fill up, right? I mean, they'll only be able to handle about 20 kids a year. So once they get to, given the budget, and that's the staff that they have and the intensity of what they do with the kids, I think it was 20, or maybe it was about 20. It was about 20. So, yeah.
You mentioned just now budget. From your impact, I mean, obviously the state and schools have had lots of budget issues. How has that impacted, I guess, your study and just, I guess, youth violence in general?
It has a significant influence in the work that we do. I mean, when we first started the YES program, the school system was in such trouble that they were closing buildings, and they closed the building where we were doing our intervention. I'm like, well, now what do we do? And it's like, of course, it'd be absurd, and we would not even cross our minds to say, oh no, you can't close at school, we're doing a study. Of course, that would never happen, so we had to adjust to that. We were lucky in the way they did that worked out for us, because they moved the kids into a high school, and then they separated the high school kids from the middle school kids, and they were basically intact, but not completely. So it screwed us up a little bit, but not very much. But little things like that, When we first started working with the police department, it's about 15 years ago,